Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. We are back again with your match reaction to West Bromwich Albion 1, Sunderland 2, and what a disappointing performance, showing, result that was. Don't really know where to start, to be honest. Yeah, of course, really, firstly, just overall summary. Really damaging defeat to Albion's playoff push, if that's what we're calling it, and ultimately, leaves Sunderland with a big upper hand, leaves all the other teams with a big upper hand. It was really important that we didn't not only won, but also didn't lose today, and that's what we've ended up going and done. And I think, yeah, there are lessons to be learned from that today, and hopefully the players will learn that in quick time, in time for Wednesday's game against Sheffield United, possibly. Even the weekend when we face Norwich on Saturday as well. But yeah, ultimately disappointed with the result. But yeah, we'll be talking all about that game in today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel for more content like this. Comment your thoughts down below on the game. And yeah, let's crack on. It's West Brom 1, Sunderland 2, a match reaction.
You're watching the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. For match previews, match day vlogs, match reactions and more, make sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel.
So let's talk about the game and kind of decipher what on earth happened there. So obviously Albion went ahead after 45 minutes through John Swift. And then Dennis, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but their left back scored twice to allow them to take a current playoff place and to slim Albion's hopes of it. But yeah, first of all, just some thoughts on Sunderland, as I thought they were really good. Really impressed with them. I think they've got 14 players injured at this moment in time, so that's obviously massive for them. It's a lot worse than our injury concerns at the moment, but certainly Tony Mowbray, as we all love Tony Mowbray here at Albion. I'm sure many of you are big fans of the football that he played during his time at the club, including myself. He's obviously got them playing a very nice style of football, and although they haven't potentially got that, I'd say star quality with some of the players they've got out injured. Obviously, Ross Stewart's probably the one I'm aiming that at most, because obviously he's meant to be their big goal scorer, obviously out for quite a long time now. But genuinely, Sunderland look a very, very good side. I'm very pleased for Tony Mowbray getting that done, really. In a way, it's a shame it's come at our expense today, but I thought that Sunderland played very well. And I thought they were deservedly the winners of the game. I thought Albion were off the pace. And we'll come on to that now, because, I thought Albion, if you can't get it for that game, I think that's where my concerns lie with the squad at the moment and the way it is. I think if you can't get yourself up for that game, I think you'll struggle to get it for any of the playoff games. And I think if that is to be our playoff race curtailed, which I hope it isn't, because there's still 3 games left to play, 3 big games, 3 games against massive teams. To be honest, you look at the 3 we've got: Sheffield United, Norwich, Swansea City as well. I think they'd struggle in the playoffs if they are to get in. Obviously, still possible, not all over yet, but still not looking very likely, if we have to be honest. I thought we still created quite a few chances. You think you have 19 shots in a game against a team. I don't think Sunderland looked comfortable by any means in their defending, which I think is to our credit, but also obviously to their injury crisis, because they had 1 fit centre half. I think they had only 2 players above 6 foot in their team today, which I think a lot of Albion fans were kind of latching onto, but we didn't really make very much use of that. I thought we tried to keep the ball on the floor a little bit too much. I thought Sunderland could have. I think we stuck to our principles a little bit much. I think we could have made it a little bit more difficult for them by being a bit more direct. I mean, obviously you haven't got Daryl Dike. I think that was the game for him, if I have to be honest. I think he could have really bullied Sunderland's defence today. Obviously injury, he's not there. Thomas Asante still could have done a similar job, but I don't think he was particularly on it today. I think Mo Fowl on the bench came on, had a little chance late on in the game. But ultimately, that was disappointing from Albion in terms of a showing. I thought Corberan was a little bit naive with his tactics as well, if I have to be honest. Everybody could see that those changes that he made, especially the Gardner-Hickman-Farake one, should have been made a little bit of time ago. I think Carlos is, as to his credit, he's done fantastically well to get Albion into the playoff place. Even talking about a playoff place, bottom of the league when he came in, fantastic. Majority of the points won this season under Corberan. I think he's been brilliant, but I think it's starting to get a little bit of a name for being a bit more reactive than proactive, and I think that's a bit difficult to kind of understand, but I think he's getting a bit, I think he's kind of getting, for me in my head, a little bit more reactive than proactive. And I think Mowbray today was proactive with his changes, his substitutions. I think Corberán, I think everyone could see that those changes should have been made a little bit of a while ago. And obviously them not being made was difficult to kind of take, because you had the game in your hands. I think first 20 minutes they came out there, Albion, they rattled Sunderland a little bit. It's a young side, obviously. Average age of the starting 11 is 22, according to Tony Mowbray, which is brilliant. It's fantastic that they managed to be in the playoff places even with a squad like that. But still, you're up against a young side. You had them rattled really in the first 20 minutes with some of the chances you created. Pinball in the box, getting the ball down the sides of them, really causing them problems with fluid, fast movement in the attacking third. And I think we lost all of that after that point. And I think that a lot of the time we've been playing a very similar performance under Corberán for probably the past 10 games or so now. Some of the times it's resulted in a good result. Some of the times it's resulted in a bad result. And I think ultimately I struggle to see where Albion get that sort of performance from. I don't think they were brilliant in either the Blackpool or the Stoke games, but I think they at least showed some fight. I thought they showed fight today, if I have to be honest. I thought they were battling, but still, in terms of quality in the attacking third, I think we're really lacking. I mean, you've got a three behind Thomas Asante with breadths and breadths of championship experience, but I think they rely a little bit too much on in counter-attacks and transition in the likes of Grant, Swift, Wallace. I think they rely a little bit too much on getting the ball forward quickly. When Sunderland were camped a little bit in their own box, which they kind of did after we kind of got forward and got at them in the first 20 minutes, I think Albion, our players, struggled to unlock that Sunderland defence. I don't think they look particularly solid, but I think that's kind of in their abilities in Swift, Wallace, Grant, and maybe even Thomas Asante to some extent. I think they struggle to break down a defensive structure. I think they really love it when Albion get the ball forward at speed. There's plenty of space to run into, but when it's on them to create the space themselves, I think that's quite difficult. I think they find that quite difficult. I'll go through the team. I'll go through each player now, as I always do on this channel, Albion squad, and talk about which players I think played well. Give them a little, little appraisal on their performance today. But yeah, starting in goal with Alex Palmer, I thought he made a couple of really good saves. Made one from Jack Clark, just outside the box, and I thought he looked really good with the ball at his feet as well. Palmer, to be expected from him at the moment. I don't think he could have done anything about either goal. The first, obviously, a header sort of into the top corner, and then the second one, a real planted finish into the roof of the net. The back four, I thought, were really impressive today. I mean, I'll go as far as to say that. I thought particularly Shemi Ajayi, who was obviously given a little bit of licence to step into the midfield and come and take the ball off Sunderland's players, and I thought that's when he works really, really well, when he's given a little bit of licence to do that, follow a player into midfield, and I think that's what he does very well at, and nearly started a couple of breaks for us at doing that. Connor Townsend as well, I thought was particularly great. I thought he very solid defensively against a very tricky threat of Diallo, who kept drifting over to the right-hand side, and I thought he dealt with that extremely well. So yeah, fair play to those two. Thought Furlong Peters was still good, and as a unit, I thought was still very good. Jason Malumbi in midfield was probably my Albion man of the match. Thought he was very good, won the most duels in the match with 8. Okai alongside him, yeah, it pains me to little bit criticise him, but he was very clearly not 100% fit. Very clearly playing through whatever injury he's had over the past few weeks, but still, there was some touches in there, especially in that second half, as he got a bit more used to the pace of the game, and obviously Sunderland got energy around him, and I think that he struggled, obviously, first game coming back from injury. But yeah, I didn't think he had his best game. Probably deservedly booked after quite a few tactical fouls on, I think it was either Gellart and then a couple on Ahmad in there as well. That middle three behind Thomas Asante, I thought I was disappointed with, if I have to be honest. I thought Wallace was poor. He had a little bit of a chance on 66 minutes, I think it was, and he had the opportunity to kind of play the ball past the goalkeeper and missed. But yeah, ultimately didn't do too well defensively as well. I thought he struggled really tracking back. See, 2 goals came from their left back, Dennis. I'm going to go with Kirkin, we'll say that, but yeah, I thought that he struggled to deal with him. Grant had a few moments, had a shot that went that required saving from Patterson in goal from range. Swift as well, not a fantastic performance. Obviously won the penalty, scored the penalty. That was his only shot of the game. Obviously got booked as well for a tactical foul. But yeah, I thought that 3 behind the striker was where we struggled today, because when Sunderland had clapped in a little bit more deep, we really struggled to deal with them. Whereas when we clapped in deep, I think Sunderland got the perfect type of player to deal with that. And Thomas Asante, yeah, I thought he tried quite hard. I think he was not much of a threat in the opposition box. I would have possibly gone for Fal a little bit earlier, because Sunderland, they would have struggled to deal with that aerial threat with the height of their defence and everything like that. I think they'd have really struggled to deal with that. So it's a bit of a shame not to see them go a little bit more route one. I think they stuck to their principles, and I think Sunderland ultimately the better football inside out of the two on the ball. But I think Albion could have been better at other things today, which could have got them to win the game, and that's where the disappointment lies for me. You know, I think Corberán should have made a few changes earlier on. They required a bit of energy a bit earlier. Sunderland's players are always busy, always looking for the ball, always willing to take the ball on, and I think that's for me where Albion struggled. And I think Gardner Hickman was a glaring change early on. Early on in the second half maybe. I thought he did really well when he came on. Obviously took the ball past a couple of players and then shot just marginally wide of the post from long range. Thought he was, I think that game required him a little bit more, and I think for Corberán only to react as soon as the goal goes in, I think it's disappointing. Albrighton, I have to give him a little bit of criticism, because that was his man who ran past him for Sunderland's winner, and he was jogging right in front of me, right in front of myself in the east stand, and he let him jog past him and let him score. Well, I say let him score, but he let him jog past him and eventually he scored. So, but I was disappointed from Albrighton. I don't really know what else to say. I thought Corberán's changes could have come a bit earlier, and I think we could have been a bit more direct. I think that's probably what I'd go for. I think Sunderland might have struggled a little bit more, and they struggled in those early stages when we looked to be a bit more direct rather than trying to play them at their own game. And, you know, if there's Sunderland fans here on the video now still watching, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Albion in the comment section below. That would be quite an interesting thing to do, because I know plenty of Sunderland fans watched the last video I did on when the two sides met. But yeah, that's all we've got time for on this match reaction. Nice little therapy session there to get rid of that frustration. But thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this. Comment your thoughts on the game below, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.